Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to ask John Hood and Chris Fitzsimon. It's a well-known fact that when legislation is sent to the Rules Committee of either the House or the Senate, the message that accompanies it is not now, not never. But Senator Erica Smith has filed discharge petitions to remove two of her bills from the Rules Committee, purgatory. Smith wants to remove her bill to require legislators and their staffs to take mandatory annual ethics training. She also wants to resurrect her bill for North Carolina to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. Have you ever heard any of these discharge petitions succeeding? What do you think of her efforts, Chris?
Well, I think she's doing her job as representing her constituents. She believes in both of these things. I do think it's a good idea for the legislators to have ethics and harassment training. I don't understand why that would be such a controversial issue, other than maybe it's seen as a tacit admission that there's issues they need to resolve. The RA amendment we talked about on this week's show, I think it's long overdue. 67% of the poll that we mentioned talked about it. This is getting back to the process issues, this is a tactic or a parliamentary procedure that's available to her that people have filed in the past. Oftentimes they're the most controversial when someone of the ruling party, and that's happened in the past, where members of the Democratic House have filed a discharge petition to get when the Democrats ran the House. It's a lot more controversial. It's very unlikely to come out of a committee when the opposing party is in charge, unless there are some Republican senators willing to sign on and be part of that process, which I'm sure that this session they will not be.
Tony Rand sort of took this Rules Committee purgatory business to an art form, I think, when he was running the Rules Committee. What's your take on all of this?
My take is that the Republicans, when they took charge after the 2010 election, they actually took too many notes from and personal advice from Tony Rand. And they ought to have thought about a different way to do this. But I agree with Chris about the likelihood of success for discharge petitions is low because you need to have a lot of votes already in order to get it out. Now, the scenario where it would happen, as Chris was alluding to, is imagine there's a bill where almost everybody in the minority party and large numbers in the majority party would all vote for, and just a few members that happen to be in leadership are blocking. I don't think actually either one of these meets that particular test, but you can imagine a scenario where that would happen.
But does it have any further impact that Erica Smith is one of the candidates that's going to be running against Tom Tillis for Senate?
It certainly gives her more visibility, and if Tom Tillis gets through the primary, but it gives the issue more visibility. It also gives her something to call for, a specific thing to happen, which is instead of just saying we need to pass something, she can talk about I've filed this, get people to support this. It is sort of a organizing and rallying cry. I would also point out it's not just Tony Rand that I would say Richard Morgan maybe set the stage for how a House Rules Committee is not supposed to work back when he was in charge of it in the mid-90s.
So we've got examples.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't quickly comment on one of the substantive questions, which was the Equal Rights Amendment.
Yes.
Many people have alleged that North Carolina is the last state, and if North Carolina were to enact the Equal Rights Amendment, it would go into place. That is a complete fantasy. That is not even remotely
Explain what you're saying.
Because a number of states have already rescinded previous votes for.
Okay.
I mean, this would be a much more complicated procedure. It would take a whole lot more to ever get the Equal Rights Amendment in the Constitution than North Carolina voting yes. Because there would be litigation. And by the way, I do think it's a bad idea. It's completely unnecessary given federal law.
Well, thank you for watching the Afterspin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.